Hello and welcome to module number 3, the divine connection, or chapter 3. There is a piece of God in everyone. Talk to that part. So, what is this module about? It tackles the Viking diplomacy. It is based on the principle that every human being, regardless of their current state, rank or behavior, contains within them a divine spark or a higher potential. You can look at this either way. As an operator, person living through life, your job is not to react to someone's surface level noise, anger or incompetence. Instead, you are challenged to speak directly to the version of that person. Speak directly to the best version of that person. To speak directly to the best version. Speak to the soul, to the divine within. This isn't about being nice. It is a high-level strategy to command respect and pull excellence out of those around you. The way of the Viking. What you will learn: how to separate a person's identity from their temporary behavior. What's going on right now in this moment is necessarily not a reflection of who this person really is, or should be, or could be. The commander's call: how to address subordinates, peers, and rivals to trigger their sense of humor. Interesting. We talked about laughs in module 2, so we're coming back to that. And why lowering yourself to someone else's vibration is a surrender of your own power. I believe it was it was Mike Tyson. He said to a young guy that he was interviewing in his podcast that the person said, if somebody does this to me, I will fuck him up or something. And he said, but then that person controls you. That person owns you. If something changes you and your true north, your behavior, that thing, that person, that circumstance is your master. So that's why lowering yourself to someone else's vibration is a surrender of your own power. I hope that makes sense. All right, let's dig in. Chapter 3. There is a piece of God in everyone. Talk to that part. In Viking culture, the gods were ever present. They believed that divinity flowed through every person, guiding their lives, actions, and destinies. The gods were not distant figures like they are today. They were a part of each individual soul. This belief was rooted in the understanding that every person carries a spark of the divine within them. You, me, your mother, even the person that hurt you. In the modern world, we may have lost that direct connection to ancient gods, and I think that we all feel that we are not in touch with what we really are, or who we really are, or what we could be. I think religion is not the answer. I believe that there is other ways. I believe God is real. I believe there is a maker, some sort. I don't think that the religion, they are stories. This is my story. The Bible is somebody else's story, or it's an account of many people's stories about a man called Jesus. If a book like that or this 80 pages helps you become a better person, excellent. You need to figure this out for yourself. Like, there is no shortcuts to becoming a warrior or becoming the man you're supposed to be. There is nothing that you want that comes easy. You must accept this. So, we may have lost the direct connection to ancient God, but the principle remains true. Every person you meet carries a unique light. Every person you meet carries a unique light. A piece of the divine. When you learn to connect with that part of someone, you see beyond their flaws and limitations. You see their soul. It's so amazing. It's never ending. So much abundance that you can't even imagine. You communicate with their highest potential, the warrior spirit within. Now think a little bit of how you could do that when you talk to somebody. Instead of judging them for what you see there, just stare into their soul. And you're worth something, Understand that every human being is. There are certain things that you do in life that you cannot take back. You commit certain crimes and you hurt other people and you're an evil, sadistic fucker. Then, redemption may be coming in next life or something, I don't know. But in this life, you deserve to be jailed or, eliminated perhaps, depending on what you have committed. I'm not the judge, but this is my belief. And with that said, a few years ago, I had an armed robbery in our home. My wife was luckily at work while me and a friend were home making lunch. In came 2 armed men and put a gun to my head and asked me if I wanted to die. This was at a time where I recently had back surgery, went on strong medication for pain, and was generally in a dark place actually. I had not been able to see past the darkness in a while, and I couldn't talk to that part in them that was divine, to these robbers. Because I myself was limited. And like we discussed earlier, I cannot give something I don't have. It's impossible. I didn't die there, but unfortunately someone did. And it woke me up, and for that I am grateful. I am sure the robbers had divine in them too. Seeing beyond the surface. It's easy to get caught up in surface level judgments. We often react to people's external behaviors, their mistakes, or their weaknesses. But the Viking mindset teaches us to look deeper into the person. The man standing in front of you, whether he's struggling, angry, or lost, carries within him a spark of greatness. When you speak to that part of him, you lift not just his spirit, but also your own. Talking to the divine within someone isn't about preaching or lecturing. It's about recognizing their potential and communicating with them from that perspective. Changing the way you look at things. Small changes could change so much. And when you approach people with the belief that they are capable of greatness, they often rise to meet that expectation. They often rise to meet that expectation because it just takes a small spark. Someone believes in you and you can achieve so much, so crazy much. It's so crazy how much you can achieve when people actually believe in you, when you have that support. It's incredible. When you have a brotherhood, when you have the power of belief. The Vikings understood the power of belief, not just in the gods, but in themselves and their fellow warriors. They believed that battle was not only fought with weapons, but also with the mind and spirit. A warrior's strength was amplified when he believed in the power of his comrades. When you interact with someone, your belief in their potential can be transformative. Just as a Viking chieftain inspired his men by believing in their courage and ability, you can inspire those around you by speaking to the part of them that is strong, capable, and divine. Words can be many things. They can be weapons, we discussed this, depending on how you perceive them and how they feel to you, what you use them for, how you use them, and what they become for you. You choose. But they could be weapons of inspiration. They could be weapons of mass destruction also, for the wrong ears. Your belief in someone can be the catalyst of their own self-discovery. When they realize that you see the God within them, they begin to see them within themselves. You can be the catalyst. You are the ember, the spark that could change everything. You could be, if you leave everything better than you found it. And if you speak to that part in somebody in here. Speaking to the warrior within. Talking to the divine in someone is like addressing the warrior hidden beneath layers of doubt, fear, or insecurity. Sometimes that warrior has been dormant for years, trapped beneath limiting beliefs and past failures. But when you speak directly to their higher self, you call that warrior, and here is how you do it. Number 1, speak from a place of respect. Address the person with respect, regardless of their current situation. Speak to the inside. Acknowledge their struggle, but speak to their strength. Acknowledge their struggles. I see what you're going through, but let's move forward. Instead of saying, I know you're having a hard time, try, I know you're capable of overcoming this. God only tests his strongest soldiers. 2, use uplifting language. Words are powerful. Back to it again. Words are powerful. They shape how people see themselves and their world. Use language that elevates. You have the power to change this, or I see greatness in you. Can shift someone's mindset from defeat to determination. Number 3, challenge them to rise. Challenge them to rise. A true Viking warrior didn't back down from a challenge. Sometimes speaking to the divine within someone means challenging them to rise above their circumstance. You are stronger than this. You have what it takes. Calls out the warrior in them, pushing them to break through limitations. I think if you have been in the gym, you know this feeling when you have your brother next to you, your friend is inspiring you to lift harder, push yourself more. When you're training in groups, maybe you're playing football, whatever you have done with other people, you know that you become stronger when you surround yourself with the right people. So, basically what we're doing, right? Creating a brotherhood of warriors. Imagine what would happen if every man lived by this virtue. If every interaction with other was an opportunity to speak to their higher self. Imagine if all of us, every single human being, is living by this virtue where you are speaking to the soul. Every man. This is how you create a brotherhood of warriors. Men who see greatness in each other and call it forward. Just like in ancient Viking tribes, where each warrior was expected to uphold the honor and strength of the tribe. You can build a modern day tribe of men who empower one another, like we're doing here. When you live by this virtue, you attract others who are on the same path. You attract others who are on the same path. We talked about the oil and water mixing. Live and journey on this path, and other people are traveling the same path as you. It's mathematically impossible that you will not meet them sooner or later if you keep walking. They're on the same path as you. Of course you're going to meet people on the same path as yourself. It makes sense, right? Just think about it. Doesn't it make sense that if I travel down the path to that castle, I'm more likely to meet other people who are traveling to that castle? Makes sense to me. Unlocking the God within yourself. By learning to see the divine in others, you also begin to see it in yourself. And this is a tricky one that can go to the head of many people. But you need to calm down. Don't put yourself before God, and realize that you are an extension or some form of extension, maybe, perhaps. That's how I look at it, at least. I think we're an extension of God or something, all of us connected one way or another, spiritually, energetically, something like that. I guess we found out at the end. By learning to see the divine in others, you also begin to see it in yourself. So this, like I said, is a tricky one, but you will also begin to see it in yourself when you start looking at it in other people, because you will see you will start seeing it more when you project it, basically. The way you speak to others is often a reflection on how you speak to yourself. What you say internally. Oh, I'm so stupid. I don't know how to do this. I can't. Maybe. When you start addressing the higher self in others, you begin to tap into your own inner warrior, your own divine spark. It's a cycle. The more you uplift others, the more you uplift yourself. The more you uplift others, the more you uplift yourself. Steel sharpens steel. The more you recognize the God in someone else, the more you realize that you too carry that divine strength. You are also capable. Just as Viking warriors fought not only for themselves, but for the glory of their tribe and the gods, you are fighting for the divine potential in yourself and those around you. You are fighting for the divine potential in yourself and those around you. You. Becoming a Viking of spirit. To live by this virtue is to adopt the mentality of a spiritual Viking. To live by this virtue is to adopt the mentality of a spiritual Viking. A man who sees life not just through the lens of physical strength, but through the deeper sacred power of connection. When you talk to the peace of God in everyone, you elevate your conversations, your relationships, and your impact on the world. How you do the small things is how you do everything. You become more than just a man. You become a guide, a leader, a warrior who inspires others to find their own divine strength. Sounds like somebody who leaves everything better than he found it. So, we rise together. When you learn to speak to the divine within others, you create a chain reaction of strength, growth, and empowerment. You're not just building yourself up, you're lifting your entire tribe. You're lifting your entire tribe, your family, the people around you. And like the Vikings who stood shoulder to shoulder in battle, united in purpose, you too can rise with your brothers by speaking to the God within each man you meet. Speak to the God within each man you meet. It would feel good if some people, everything you spoke to me as God, or with that kind of sense of virtue or kindness or strength, or however. It would feel amazing. And I think that if we really try, even to the people you don't dislike or who are rude to you, look deeper within. Be kind, be nice, and speak to that part of them. So, let's move on. And you can realize the divine is within you. So, let's help you find it. The combat mission, connection audit. To complete this module, you must perform these 3 tactical engagement and document the after action report in the comments. Number 1, the higher self dialogue. Identify one person you currently find difficult, annoying, or incompetent. In your next interaction with them, consciously ignore their flaws and speak to their divine spark. Treat them as if they are already the person they are capable of becoming. Could be that you are super annoyed at your mother. Whenever you speak with her, you know that she loves you. You know that she only means well, but things you are saying and how they're saying it, and just try to look at it. This person loves you, right? It's not trying to be mean to you. So just see where you get with that and see what happens. So the task was, what was their immediate reaction when you stopped treating them like a problem and starting treating them like a potential? Like, how does that change? This is obviously someone you have in your life that annoys you somehow. We all have things that we annoy with each other. We love people with and without their flaws, but with them especially. We love them for who they are with their flaws. So think about this. Try and find somebody. If you don't have somebody in your life, then we have another work to do, because you need people in your life. If that's an issue, let's get you on a one-on-one call and figure out what you need to do to start making some friends and creating your own family. Number 2, the internal mirror. We often see in others what we refuse to fix in ourselves. We often see in others what we refuse to fix ourselves. Look at that trait that irritates you most in another person. Be brutally honest. Where in your life are you guilty of that same behavior? Where? Same behavior. Interesting thought. Could be hard to accept. Perhaps not everybody else is crazy. Maybe it's you. If you have a disagreement with somebody, one of you is right, probably. Most likely. One of you is wrong. 50-50, perhaps. I don't know. But you should at least engage in the thought that you might be the person that is at fault. If you can't see that you might be at fault in different scenarios, then you have a long way to go. And like I said, book a one-on-one call and we're going to help you figure that out so you can be a person that people love to be around. Name the trait and describe the specific action you took today to kill that behavior in yourself first. If that happens, just try to see what happens and document it. Try to think of a way to get it down on paper, right? So we can all learn from each other. The point is not to point any finger to somebody, that is that we learn together and use each other's scenarios and circumstances to learn, and we learn by sweat instead of blood, because I rather learn by sweating than by blood, and a smart man would say the same. So 3, the recognition deployment. Find one person who is often overlooked or invisible. Could be a service worker, a quiet colleague, or a family member doing a thankless job. Washing, mother taking care of all these things that nobody is giving them feedback or thanks for. Look them in the eye, use their name, and give them a sincere moment of recognition that acknowledges their value. A sincere moment of recognition. So, and with that said, I want you to describe the shift in the atmosphere of that interaction. Did you feel your own authority increase or decrease by elevating someone else? So explain to us how you felt in this moment when you actually did this out of character thing, where you told this person, whoever it is, something that they deserve to hear but probably didn't have or had for a long time or maybe never. So best of luck, and I will see you in module 4, and as they say in Spain, hasta luego.